Hello, Celtic supporters. Today, we need to talk about a match that left many of us scratching our heads and feeling a bit heartbroken, and that's no exaggeration. Heading into the game, most folk would have tipped Dundee United, and it's fair to say that the confidence among Celtic fans was, let's be honest, pretty low. That first half, though, actually gave a glimpse of something resembling hope. It wasn't perfect by any means, but there were signs that the lads were competing, getting to second balls, pressing a wee bit higher, and creating chances that, on paper, should have had us several goals up. It was the first 30 or 45 minutes in a long while where you could genuinely think maybe, just maybe, something was clicking, something was happening. But as soon as the whistle blew for half-time, all that promise seemed to vanish, and the second half turned into an entirely different story, and that's where the frustration really sets in. You watch as the team comes out, and the spaces in midfield that were open in the first half are suddenly blocked, and there's no visible tactical adjustment, no tweaks to the movement, no subtle changes in positioning, nothing to counter the way Dundee United had changed their approach. It's like the lads on the pitch are still trying, but the manager isn't adapting, and the opposition takes advantage, gradually suffocating any rhythm Celtic had managed to establish. What's particularly galling is the sheer number of chances we squandered. There were at least half a dozen clear-cut opportunities that a competent striker should have finished, and watching them go begging was almost criminal. From close-range misses to headers that should have been guided home, the inefficiency in front of goal compounded the sense of helplessness as the second half wore on. Even in matches where we create opportunities, there seems to be a complete inability to respond when the opposition adjusts. Against Dundee United, the second goal felt like a dagger straight through the heart, and it reminded many of us of previous games where a moment of misfortune or misjudgment would immediately break the team's spirit. It's not about bad luck alone, it's about an absence of fight and character when things start going against Celtic, where once a team under Martin O'Neill might have battled back despite being under pressure or lacking quality. This squad under Wilfred Nancy appears paralysed the moment adversity strikes. That first goal in the second half opened the floodgates, and the lads never seemed to regain composure or belief. Like, the core issue isn't only tactical, it's psychological. The lack of cohesion between the manager and the squad is palpable. Reports of a disconnect with key players like Callum McGregor are alarming because at Celtic, the captain's buy-in is non-negotiable. Over the years, McGregor has been someone every manager could rely on to lead by example, to embody the club's ethos on the pitch, and to be fully committed to the tactical plan. If the players don't believe in the manager, no amount of tactical instruction, no adjustment to formations, or alteration of training routines will make a difference. The confidence simply isn't there, and it shows in everything from defensive lapses to missed opportunities in front of goal. Set pieces in particular have been a recurring weakness, with a tendency to concede at crucial moments. The recent match was no exception, and the inability to defend properly at corners or free kicks continues to haunt us. Looking at the managerial approach, there's a worrying rigidity that compounds these issues. When Nancy came in, the team was on a bit of an upswing under Martin O'Neill, having won a fair few of their last fixtures and building some positive momentum. To step into that situation and immediately impose wholesale changes, stubbornly sticking to principles without adjusting to the realities of the squad or the opposition, has arguably created an adversity of his own making. The squad isn't inherently incapable of dealing with challenges, but when they are forced into a system that doesn't suit the personnel or doesn't adjust when things go wrong, it exposes every weakness. Fans are quick to point out that losing 4 matches in a row, especially at Celtic, is almost unheard of. Yet here we are, struggling not just to win, but to find any rhythm or spark that might give hope for a comeback. Even when the lads show flashes of promise, it's almost always followed by a collapse. That first half against Dundee United saw a number of chances created, moments where a clinical finisher would have put us comfortably ahead, and for a brief window, the possibility of a statement performance was there. But the second half shattered that illusion. Every adjustment from the opposition was met with inaction, and it was as if the team had no plan B. Watching Dyson miss a straightforward header late in the game, or Yamada slice at a chance that should have been an easy finish is emblematic of a wider malaise. Confidence is shot, composure is absent, and when combined with a manager seemingly out of touch with the ebb and flow of the game, it creates a perfect storm for defeat. There's also the broader picture to consider. Several players are either at the end of their shelf life at Celtic or struggling through injuries that limit their impact, while new arrivals or younger squad members show promise. The combination of experienced players fading, injuries biting, and tactical rigidity has left a team that looks short, both physically and mentally, particularly against set pieces. Players like Luke McCann and Bernardo have been brought in to adjust for height or aerial presence, yet it hasn't solved the underlying problem of organization and concentration during critical moments. The match illustrated that once again, and it raises questions not just about player selection, but about the awareness and adaptability of the coaching staff in responding to real-time threats during games. Off the field, there's a tangible disconnect between the supporters and the managerial setup. The anger is real and understandable. Fans have made sacrifices to travel, pay for tickets, and support the team through difficult periods, and to witness repeated defeats without a visible strategy for addressing the problems leaves a bitter taste. Statements from senior figures backing the manager give little reassurance, as there's no admission of mistakes, no hint of a proactive plan to bridge gaps in communication or address tactical shortcomings. Without transparency or acknowledgement of the issues at hand, it's hard for supporters to remain patient or optimistic. Even if Nancy were to admit missteps and adjust his methods, it's questionable whether trust can be restored or if the squad will respond positively at this stage. The psychological impact on the players is just as concerning. Confidence in the manager's decisions seems eroded, and when players lose belief in leadership, everything else suffers. Tactics, formations, training intensity, none of it matters if the squad doesn't buy in. The team's current state reflects that, with errors compounding missed chances and a pattern of surrender when under pressure. The challenge isn't just about finding a winning formula. It's about restoring belief, cohesion, and trust. And that is a monumental task when both players and fans are visibly disengaged. Looking ahead, there's a real risk of further decline. Upcoming fixtures offer no easy reprieve, and the pattern of collapse under pressure could continue unless there's a fundamental shift in approach. The manager faces a choice: adapt, listen to the squad, and implement pragmatic solutions to stabilize confidence and performance, or risk accelerating a slide that could have long-term consequences for the club. The first half glimpses of potential, where Celtic showed tactical movement and created opportunities, must be a template for rebuilding, but it requires recognition from the coaching staff that change is necessary. If that doesn't happen, the club could be facing a period of continued frustration and disillusionment among both players and supporters. Moving on from that Dundee United disaster, it's hard not to feel a sense of foreboding when you look at the next few fixtures. Celtic are heading into a period where every match feels like a test of character, but at the moment, the lads don't seem to have any. Confidence is shot, composure is missing, and even the smallest setbacks during a game seem to trigger a collapse rather than a rally. Against Aberdeen on Sunday, it's going to be a real measuring stick for both the players and Wilfred Nancy as manager. Aberdeen are on the rise themselves, full of energy, and they've got a momentum that Celtic simply cannot match at present. With the squad checked out mentally, even a fixture that on paper should be winnable feels like a daunting challenge. The worry is that if another defeat occurs, it could signal a complete unraveling for the season, and the support that has been patient even through tough patches may reach breaking point. Looking back at the Dundee United match, the thing that strikes most is the sheer lack of fight. It's not that the lads weren't trying. They were moving, passing, and occasionally creating chances. But there's no aggression, no urgency, no reaction when the opposition scores or changes their approach. The pattern repeats itself game after game. You can see it in the missed chances from Dyson and Yamada, in the defensive lapses, and in the way the team seems paralyzed at key moments. Even when Celtic were dominant early on, there was this underlying fragility, a sense that the moment adversity strikes, the team will fold. That's a psychological issue as much as a tactical one. Under Martin O'Neill, there was always a sense that the lads could dig in, find a way to battle back even when things were tough. Under Nancy, that resilience seems absent, and it's painfully clear that confidence in the manager himself is waning among the squad. It's also evident in the relationship with key players. When you hear whispers that Callum McGregor and Wilfred Nancy don't see eye to eye, that tells you everything you need to know. McGregor has been the embodiment of leadership at Celtic, someone every manager could rely on to enforce discipline, drive intensity, and buy into the tactical plan. If he's not fully invested in the manager's approach, then it's almost impossible to expect the rest of the squad to be. That disconnect manifests itself in sloppy decision-making, missed opportunities, and the general lack of cohesion we've witnessed on the pitch. Tactics alone can't solve it. The squad needs belief, and right now, it simply isn't there. The manager might have a vision, might have principles, but if the players don't believe in him, none of that translates into performance. Set pieces continue to be a recurring nightmare. The match against Dundee United was emblematic of that ongoing problem. Despite making changes to the team, including bringing in players like Luke McEwan and Bernardo, Celtic remain vulnerable, particularly in the air. Losing the height and physicality that used to help in set-piece situations has exposed yet another weakness. The team struggles to mark opponents properly, to anticipate delivery, and to maintain concentration when the ball comes in from corners or free kicks. This is a pattern that's been repeated over the last few games, and it's not just a question of personnel, it's also a question of preparation, organization, and coaching. Something isn't clicking, and it continues to cost the team dearly in matches that, on paper, could have been winnable. Then there's the matter of adapting during games. One of the most concerning aspects of Nancy's approach so far is the apparent inability to react when the opposition changes tactics. Against Dundee United, the second half illustrated this perfectly. The team had found space and opportunities in the first half, but after half-time, the opposition blocked the midfield, tightened up defensively, and changed the pattern of play. Instead of responding, Celtic continued in the same manner, offering no adjustments to movement, positioning, or attacking strategy. The result was predictable. The team came under sustained pressure, allowed goals, and failed to regain any control. The lack of tactical flexibility is deeply troubling, especially when combined with a squad whose confidence is already fragile. It's not just about losing matches, it's about losing momentum, identity, and belief. The current run has created an atmosphere of doubt, and that doubt seeps into every aspect of the game. Even when opportunities arise, the players hesitate, misjudge, or fail to execute. The moments where the team could have capitalized on early dominance, such as the first half against Dundee United, were squandered because the finishers weren't clinical and the team's mindset wasn't sharp. Each miss compounds the mental strain, and the cumulative effect is a team that looks overawed and unprepared to handle challenges. The supporters are not blind to this either. Traveling fans who make the effort to be at away games, paying for tickets, fuel, and meals, see the same pattern every week. They witness promising beginnings unraveling into disappointing results, mistakes repeated at set pieces, and a lack of fight when it matters most. The frustration is understandable, and it has manifested in the atmosphere at matches, where chants and anger directed at the managerial setup are becoming more frequent. While it's harsh to criticize a manager who's only been in post for a short period, it's equally difficult for fans to stay patient when the team appears directionless and unable to respond to obvious challenges during games. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. Celtic are reportedly in turmoil after whispers of a serious injury to Dyson. Maeda began circulating among fans and insiders. The Japanese forward, who has been pivotal in the boys' attacking lineup this season, is said to have suffered what some sources are calling a grave setback, sparking fears that he could miss a substantial chunk, if not the entirety, of the campaign. Although official statements have been tightly controlled, chatter within Scottish football circles suggests that the club's medical team is treating the situation with the utmost seriousness. One insider hinted that the nature of the injury could be severe enough to disrupt Celtic's attacking rhythm, leaving the squad scrambling for alternatives. Maeda's absence, even for a few weeks, might force manager Ange Postecoglou to rethink his frontline strategy, potentially leaning more heavily on younger or fringe players to fill the void. Fans have taken to social media in droves, expressing concern over the impact this could have on Celtic's ambitions both domestically and in Europe, and some have speculated that the club may explore the transfer market or recall loaned players to compensate for the loss. Others worry that the psychological blow of losing such an influential figure could ripple through the squad, especially during the critical stages of the season. Maeda himself has yet to comment publicly, and while there's hope for a speedy recovery, medical experts note that injuries of this sort often carry unpredictable recovery timelines. The uncertainty surrounding the striker's condition has only amplified speculation, with pundits debating whether Celtic's attacking style, which heavily relies on Maeda's pace and movement, can survive without him. As the boys brace for the coming fixtures, the football community is left guessing. Could this be the moment that tests the depth and resilience of the current squad? Or is Celtic quietly preparing a contingency plan that hasn't yet come to light. For now, all eyes remain on Parkhead, where whispers of Maeda's injury continue to dominate conversation and fan forums alike. One thing is certain: if the rumors are true, Celtic may be staring down one of their most challenging periods in recent memory, with the potential loss of a key forward casting a long shadow over their season. The next few weeks could prove decisive, and supporters can only hope that what they've heard is exaggerated. Hello, fan. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.